Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
We'll never pass up a chance to get up to beautiful old Severna Park. We're here at the Chamber of Commerce for Severna Park with Geri Cvetic, who is the president of Toastmasters of Severna Park. And I have always heard about Toastmasters, but it was kind of interesting when Phil had contacted me and said that, you really ought to take a look at what this is all about. And I said, well, I know what they are. They teach people how to speak publicly in a most basic sense. And he said, well, no, you need to talk to Geri. So here we are.
Oh, very good.
Thanks so much for inviting us up here and meeting us. And thanks to the Severna Park Chamber of Commerce for offering up their place to sit here and record. For somebody that's never heard of Toastmasters, and it's getting more difficult to know about Toastmasters because they opened up a toast store down in Annapolis called Toasty. And then, of course, you got to think the whole Cheers thing, which ties into Toastmasters, I'm sure. But what is, in the basic sense, Toastmasters?
Well, first of all, thank you, John, for giving me this opportunity to have this conversation with you. And I did not know about Toastmasters for many, many years, but I had a real problem with public speaking. I would get so nervous. And when I was working on my master's degree, I had to get up and give presentations and, of course, in my career. So I took a class from Dale Carnegie, which was super expensive. And it was like a one and done. So I really never got over my fear of public speaking or learn the techniques of being a good public speaker. But later in life, I found Toastmasters. In fact, I married a Toastmaster. And I became friends with several other Toastmasters. And I thought, oh, gee, if only I had had this when I was young. I really needed this in my life because I've struggled. Well, one of those Toastmasters said to me, Geri, it's never too late. And so in 2018, I joined Toastmasters. And what Toastmasters is a great place to learn to be a public speaker or to just be comfortable speaking if you're a little bit on the shy side, and you learn so much more. They say, Toastmasters, where leaders are made. And so you're not just learning speaking, but you're learning all different kinds of public speaking and speaking on your feet. So in Toastmasters, we not only have formal speeches that you can learn to do, and let me mention that we have a fabulous, when you join Toastmasters, you have access to their platform. And in their platform, there is everything you need to do a lot of self-teaching. They have all the different, if you want to get involved in storytelling or giving presentations or any type of speaking, they have tracks, they're called pathways, that you can get into and go through the paths and learn all the techniques.
It just dawned on me that this is not just for the guy that's standing up in the middle of the stage with one microphone, talking to an audience of whatever it is. And as you talked about being comfortable speaking. And again, I've seen people awkwardness in cocktail parties and just little social gatherings as opposed to a quote unquote speaking event. And as I look at what the havoc that COVID caused, and I look at some of the young kids that are, I say young kids now at this point, the young adults that are coming out of going through either college or high school with 2, maybe 2.5 years of isolated learning. I think that a lot of our young people have really taken a hit on some of these social cues on how to talk to people one-on-one or into community situation. I mean, we walked in here this morning and we were just, sit there chit-chatting away for, 40 minutes or whatever it was. And that was great because we got to know each other and everything else. But I find a little bit of that's lost. And I'd imagine that Toastmasters is something that could probably help with that, even though it may not be just a specific path, like, okay, how to chit chat and a coffee,
Right. Absolutely, John. In fact, I want to give you an example. We had a young person, she was probably 20 years old. Her name's Sarah, and she came in, and we had this thing called table topics, where you give someone a topic cold, and they speak for 2 minutes about this topic. So you have to, think through quickly what you're going to say.
Is it a
And
topic they can really think about and do, or do you like, here, talk about molecular biology?
Right. But, well, the little trick with that is, molecular biology. I really don't know anything about molecular biology, but that reminds me of anatomy. And I love taking care of myself. You can just bridge into something that you can talk about. But getting back to Sarah, I gave her a table topic and she ran out of the room crying.
Freaked
Well,
out?
she freaked out. And she came back, though, and she said, well, I decided I could either go home and forget that this ever happened, or I could face my fear and get over it. Well, she faced her fear, and now she's not only faced her fear, but she has been volunteering at the public library talking about social ills of the social media and,
Sure.
for kids, because when she was in high school, she was depressed, and it really being on Facebook and these kinds of things.
It's toxic.
Yeah, it's very toxic. And that's what she was trying to tell the parents, be careful and watch your kids, with the social media. And so she's been doing these speeches over at the public library, which I think is very cool. But I totally agree with you. During COVID, it especially hit the young kids. They forgot how to interact with each other, just having conversation. And this can really help not only kids, but adults. And it's a sense of belonging, and you build this comfort in your everyday speaking, besides getting in front of a group of people.
It's funny. People have different ways of I guess, different fears of speaking. I mean, I've often heard that, public speaking is one of the top fears of everybody, probably next to spiders and snakes or something like that. But that, and it is daunting. But public speaking doesn't necessarily need to be in front of that group. Again, we talked, it could be at a cocktail party, it could be at a networking event,
Sure.
it could be it could just be one-on-one
Sure.
on how to talk with somebody. And I think that something like this really sort of develops a lot of leadership, a lot of underlying strengths that you may not have known that you had. And then Sarah seems to be like an example of that, saying, well, dang it all, I'm going to do it. And, just sort of grab the bull by the horns and say, okay, well, this is do or die. We'll see how it works out. And it worked out wonderfully for her. But I think that confidence just is a huge builder. And people do different things. I mean, I've emceed a couple different things, and I really pick and choose what I want to MC publicly. My personal thing is I don't like the focus on me. I like to, like, give me into a group. I'm great. I could talk we could go on for like 3 hours on this today, but it is not a problem. But it's when the focus changes on me. That's where my shortcomings, my insecurities all come through. If I can turn around and speak and deflect it to you or to Toastmasters or the Severna Park Chamber of Commerce or, anywhere else, I do a lot better. And I think that, a program like Toastmasters would probably be able to assuage a lot of the issues people have as far as public speaking goes.
Well, I really like what you said. You like to listen to other people. You like to get other people to talk. And that's a real skill in itself, being a good listener and bringing out other people and getting other people to talk. And that's a skill that we really focus on in Toastmasters, that listening skill. I know that as a teacher, that was a hard one for me. So I've been really working on my listening skills, but also those people who are more introverted and don't want to talk so much about themselves, that is hard. But you do that. We have an icebreaker talk for every pathway that you get into, which is like a program that you go through, and it builds in different skills. In there, we have this icebreaker where you have to get up and talk 5 to 7 minutes about yourself. And so that would probably
that's
be
vulnerable.
really good for you. People like you because you have to talk 5 to 7 minutes about yourself. But you had mentioned leadership. This is really the best place to learn. If you don't have any leadership skills that you've had an opportunity to grow, this is such a super place because we have different offices. For instance, I am the president of Toastmaster. And so in that role, I have to do certain things. And it goes beyond the club. Then you can become an area director, district director. This is a really big organization. It's international.
Well,
And so
what I
it
was
just
gonna ask you.
keeps
So
going
it's
up and up. And then you have competitions, and the competitions are really where you can up your skills because by competing with other people, you get evaluated by judges. You don't have to go to that level. You can just stay in your club level if you want. But if you want to be a public speaker, there's pathways that you can go through to become and get the practice you need to, and the competitions can go very high level up to international.
wow. I didn't realize it was quite that large. And one thing you talked about as far as listening goes, and I will say just that there is a very big difference between hearing and listening. And listening is just so important to be able to, and we all tune out. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you sit there, and I mean, I can't begin to tell you how many classes in college or school that was like just sitting there staring off into the thing, the head nod, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so we heard what the teacher said, but the professor said, but we didn't really listen to it. And listening is really very key. And I think that this just has to be such a confidence builder for people, and public speaking for the young kids that are listening that may think, oh, this is a bunch of BS. This will be part of your life from your career on. And as we mentioned, it's not going to be on the stage probably in front of thousands of people, but it could be. But it's going to be talking to your boss and explaining why you need that raise, why they need to pick you over the other person for a promotion at work.
Right.
When you look to get a work, why are you the person that needs to work for this company? And that's all ties into here. And these are just true life skills that unfortunately, along with like writing checks and mailing letters, are not taught in the public schools anymore. And very well worth, I would think, to anybody's self-esteem to be able to get involved with something like that. Locally here, you talked about the different club levels. And you mentioned that it is an international organization. You've got the competitions, which sounds like a whole bunch of TED Talks all rolled up in one, which sounds fascinating.
It would prepare you.
But tell me about the local club. I mean, where do you meet, and what's it like?
Could I tell you one more story?
Sure.
Oh, I would love
I
to
love
tell you.
stories.
Okay, great. Well, I joined in 2018, and then I retired several years later. And I have a student who excelled at public speaking, but she liked to belong. So I invited her to Toastmasters. Well, her skills, not only in her public speaking, just grew and grew and grew, but she became a president of Toastmasters, an area director, and now she's a district director. And not only that, she started at the bottom level at Northrop Grumman, and she has gotten into more leadership with Northrop Grumman.
Sure.
Yeah, she started at the bottom, and she's made quite a few advancements in her career. So, yes, she started right after high school,
That's wonderful.
and she has a lot of heart, and she just really puts a lot into Toastmasters, and it has totally paid off for her.
Now, I'm assuming that Toastmasters, I mean, your position here is unpaid? Or,
It is all volunteer.
okay, except probably in the management of the larger
Right,
international
the
organization,
international,
in the
right.
nationals.
Right, and they one of the things that, I don't think people take advantage of that I do, is they have a helpline. If you get stuck in your pathway and you have a question, you can call the helpline, and they will quickly get you through that. And so that person would probably be paid. So,
Right.
so it's nice.
Some great resources there.
Oh, and unbelievable. And the platform also has magazines that date way, way back. And you can say, last week our theme was gratitude. And so I pulled up gratitude, and there were like 5 articles on gratitude, were just super. And as a president, I start off with something inspirational. And so I gave some of the little gems from that article.
Neat.
So, yeah.
Neat. Well, tell me about the local club. I mean, when, where, how? I mean, how do we join? Where do we meet?
Oh,
And
okay.
what's it look like?
Okay, what's it look like? Well, we're sitting in the room, so you can really
Okay.
see what it looks like. So we have a big table here. We also are virtual, which is kind of cool. We meet the
Thank you,
first.
COVID.
Yeah, exactly. And I joined during and was president during COVID, so that was a challenge. First and the third Tuesday of the month at 7:00 here at the Chamber of Commerce. Just come on in, and you can come in early. Usually, we have Oscar here around 6:30, and he's setting up the equipment for our hybrid. And you can also go on hybrid. But if you go to a website, it will give you all that information, and you can sign up for the virtual or just walk in. We are at 1 Holly Avenue at the Chamber of Commerce, first and third Tuesday of the month,
Okay.
7:00. The meetings last about 1.5 hours. And they're very organized. You will have, like I said, there will be different jobs that people will do, and they will explain their jobs. Like we have a timer. So you learn a lot about discipline in this too. You can't just go on forever. You are timed. And we have someone, a grammarian, someone who's an counter.
I was going to ask you if there was a numb counter.
And that is something that is you have to pause. And I'm not sure how many ums I had today. Excuse me if I did.
I'll let you know when we edit this.
I'm working on the ums. I'm not perfect. So
It's funny. I know when we first started doing this podcast, people were saying, yeah, take out every every I said, well, that's not realistic because that's part of natural speech.
right.
You've got a brief thought, but we also learned that silence is golden, to use a grandmom expression.
Right.
That's fine. It's
Yes.
nothing wrong with pausing,
Yes.
thinking about that next thought, and moving on
Yeah.
without having to fill this silence with some kind of gibberish
Right.
that's in there. Can somebody come in and just sort of, I guess, audit?
Sure.
Toast?
You can come in several times and just visit and see if you like it. Then if you do, we can sign you up and you can become part of the Toast of Severna Park.
Okay, now your website is severnapark.toastmastersclubs.org. It doesn't sound to me like it's a program, I mean, it can be a progressive program, but it does not sound like when we join Toastmasters of Severna Park that we are in this for a 12-year program
No.
to learn. This is, I just need to get over a hump. I can come in, join for a year, get over that hump, and go on my way.
Mhm. It's not
Or-
a one and done like many other programs out there.
Like the Dale Carnegie.
Right. In fact, we have a member, his name is Dave, and he was in Toastmasters for many years, and then he fell away. And he realized I need to be in Toastmasters to stay polished. And so he has come back and joined us. Great member, good person to know.
I've got to think too, the polishing is probably pretty important. Just the way you look at the way language changes every single year, and new slang and new way. I mean, we never would have talked about social media and Facebook 30 years ago.
Right.
And you look at the slang and what's
right.
going on, and depending on what your audience is, you want to be able to integrate that. So I imagine that is probably very important to keep up with what's going on.
Sure.
Obviously, it's a membership type of a program.
Sure.
You sign up, is that a monthly membership that you can sign up?
It's actually several months. You pay for several months, and then you're good.
And you say that you typically sign up for several months
Right.
at a time. So it's not like a month.
No,
It's
it's
quarterly or something
Yes.
along those lines, which probably makes sense, because it doesn't make sense to go into something and you're going to get nothing out of it. I mean, you hear a lot of times when people will go in and say, "Oh, well, I tried it and didn't like it," or "I tried it and it didn't work."
Mhm.
Well, how much time do you have? We talk about advertising like that too. Well, I advertised once in the Capitol and it didn't work. Well, of course it didn't work. I mean, you're hoping somebody saw it and needed to act on that, but advertise 5 times in the Capitol, now you may have a different story.
Mhm.
Do you think everybody can learn to comfortably speak in public? I mean, you're coming from a teaching background. Do you think
Oh.
everybody has it in them?
I believe that's true, and wherever you start, um, for instance, Sarah, she started very fearful, and she just made huge gains. And this is something that I've been thinking about lately, and it's so true. You get out of it what you put into it, and the sky is the limit with Toastmasters. If you're willing to put in a couple, some time, you can make really fast progress. And the thing that helps you to make the progress, you have evaluators. So you can give a speech and you will get an evaluation, and they will tell you how you can improve your speech. And you can come back a second time and do the same speech, and they will tell you how you have improved. So it's up to you how fast you want to improve.
Are they brutally honest with you?
No, I mean, they have this thing where when someone evaluates you, they see all the good that you do. And hearing the good that you're doing encourages you to come back. And then they give you suggestions of how you can make it a little better. So maybe you're going to work on just one thing. Uh, no ahs and ums. Like maybe you're working on your hand gestures or using the stage. You may be working on eye contact. So there's quite a few things that make up a good speech.
I didn't think about that. You should maybe think about crossing over the stage to the left to make your point on this.
Right.
You should be maybe putting your hands up into the air
Right.
for this. Do you look out into the audience and picture people in their underwear or naked?
I do not. I do not. I feel very comfortable in Toastmasters. I've been here since 2018. We have some very high level speakers in here. I am by no means the highest level speaker in here. There's people in here who have been in this club for many, many more years than I have. I feel comfortable though, because everyone in here is in here to improve. We're not in here to judge anyone. So this is a safe environment. Everyone here makes you feel comfortable, welcomed, that you belong. They'll do anything they can to help you to improve.
Well, it's probably pretty comfortable too, knowing that you're getting judged and tomorrow you're going to be the judge.
Right.
That shoe will go. That shoe will go on the other foot.
Right. But we always start off with something positive, because if you're just standing up here, that's a positive. You have the courage to come in and try. That is
You
a
made the
real
phone call, you
positive.
knocked on the door, you came in
Right.
and you sat down.
Exactly.
Certainly. Do you remember your first public speech here with
Oh, in
Toastmasters?
Toastmasters? Oh, yes. Yes, I do remember because I was so nervous. I spent so much time writing that speech, and I brought it in. It was a typewritten speech, and
What's a typewriter?
yes.
No,
Well, it was a
no, no.
computer printed. Yes, right. Let's update me. I'm not real young. So, anyways, I came in and I read the speech, and I was so nervous. It was so funny, and that was in 2018. And now I can get up and give a speech with no notes. So I can also
Leaps and bounds.
yes, it is. It has made a huge difference in my life, and it has made a huge difference. I go to a lot of functions with my husband. I'm with a lot of high-level people, and I always feel comfortable in my conversation. I'm an extrovert, and so this helps me to be an extrovert and have some good speaking skills.
Well, I go back to Beverly Hills Cop, and Eddie Murphy's line there says that BS and attitude will go a long way to get into there. So I
Right,
think that
right.
Toastmasters probably helps out with that as well. How much you talked about, you prepared your speech and you typed it all out, and actually kind of a funny a side story there. My high school had 2 graduation requirements in addition to the academic stuff. You had to be able to type on a typewriter, 30 words a minute. And you also had to be able to swim a mile.
Oh.
And it was just two life skills. We didn't have computers they were just coming in. I think we had the card readers and the COBOL maybe. It didn't mean anything to me now, certainly, but just great life skills. I'm not the best typist, but I can move along with it. And as we've gone into this new world with computers and certainly now cell phones with a little tiny keyboard, which I'm not very fast on, really good life skill as well as swimming. Off
Very,
topic, but
very nice.
how
Great.
much time outside of your twice monthly hour and a half to 2-hour meetings do most people spend on Toastmaster stuff?
Well, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You get out of it what you put into it. I just gave a speech last Tuesday, and I probably spent maybe 3 or 4 hours on it.
Okay.
And if you follow the instructions on the pathways, it'll take you some time to go through it and then practicing several times, recording yourself, watching it back. A recorder doesn't lie. So the video recorder doesn't lie. So once you see what you're doing, that really, really helps a lot. But again, it's up to you.
It's so difficult to watch yourself, to listen to yourself. We started my daily news podcast back in, I think, 2017 early. And I made the mistake, or gathered the courage, one of the two, to listen to like the first 2 episodes. And I just sit there and I cringe. I'm going, oh my gosh, do I even believe that anybody listened to that, much less stuck with it to get
Right.
the audience that we
Right.
have today? And just repetition really does improve you. And to be able to look, and you're going to be your worst enemy. You're going to be your worst judge, much more so than the people that are going to be here, I'm sure, because they're looking to lift you up. They're going to say, hey,
Right.
here's where you can improve, not here's where you sucked.
Right. Right.
For somebody that's nervous speaking, which is probably 80% of the world in public and at a family event or whatever it may be, is there a simple tip that you can give to just sort of ease the pain? I know you've always heard that. Picture them in their underwear. And then you
Yeah.
get up there and you laugh uncontrollably because you think, that guy's got
Right.
polka dotted underwear or whatever it may be.
Right. Well, we're all people. We're all in this together. It's really so much fun to not only speak, but to listen and ask good questions of people. And it's amazing what you'll find out. I'm extremely friendly. So whenever I'm out and about, I stop and talk to people. And you learn so much, but not to focus on yourself, focus on the other person and, you can maybe make somebody else smile.
I've learned over my time in doing these and certainly out and about that go down the rabbit holes when something opens up. There's all sorts of great stuff that's down there that you don't necessarily know about. I know I talked to a lot of different artists that are coming in town. I was just talking with Paula Poundstone yesterday, and you just don't know what's there. And I
Right.
really make an effort to look at something that, especially with somebody like Paula Poundstone that's been around for 40 some odd years, that she hasn't answered a gazillion times. And that kind of blew my mind. Okay, well, yeah, let's talk about that, which is really very cool. When you're in a cocktail party, it's so easy to say, wow, man, I can't believe it's this cold out. And that's just really boring, low level crap that nobody, yes, okay, conversation's over and done with. So what brought you here? Totally different conversation.
Right.
Just maybe something news wise. I mean, let's not steer into politics here at this point, but sit there and say, oh my gosh, did you see that the Bay Bridge run was canceled because of the weather? Open up that conversation. Yeah. Oh, man, do you run? Do you do a 10K? No, you could look at me. Do you think I could do it? I mean, it opens up a conversation,
Yeah.
which is, just avoid that low hanging fruit is what I've learned. And, when somebody says something, listening again to what they say and expand upon it.
Right. Right, right. Oh, one of the things that I did while I was at Chesapeake High School is I did events. And if there was something to have an event over, I would do it. And we had Black History, we had Read Across America, and so on. But wherever I go places all the time, we just got back from Jane Monroe's house in Virginia. But I met this woman. It was so fascinating. She did all this research on Eliza Monroe, who was stranded in France, lost her inheritance, cheated out of it because of it. There's been articles in the
Sure.
newspaper about this lately. And so could not come back to the States. She was buried in an unmarked grave in France. This woman did all this research and started a foundation and was able to get Eliza back with the family plot at Hollywood Cemetery
In
in
Virginia.
Virginia. So I mean, that's just one example, but wherever I go, I'm always meeting people, asking questions, learning things, making friends, and it makes life so much more exciting and interesting.
Well, you don't ever stop learning.
Never,
And that's,
never.
you start out when, you right there in the hospital and the doctor slaps you on the butt. That's
Right. Well,
your first, that hurt. I don't
that's
like
true.
that's
That's true.
And it
Keep
doesn't
learning.
stop. It doesn't stop whether you're 2 or whether you're 102. If you live to be that long
Right.
well, God bless you that you can.
Right.
But there's always something to learn. I mean, I just learned about
Sure.
67, and that the kid slang now. It's just a nonsensical thing, and it's it's just another thing in the back of my mind that does so. Just keep learning, and this is one great way to do it. To find out about the Toastmasters Club in Severna Park, Toastmasters Clubs with an S on the end.org will get you there. With a name like Toast of Severna Park and meetings twice a month for an hour and a half that end at, we figured, like
8:30.
8:30. Is there like a happy hour afterwards? This is the important stuff that we need to know here, Geri.
We do social things. And I mean, I've gone out to dinner with people and we've stayed after and chatted. We get there early and chat. But we are going to have a dinner on January the 31st at a Chinese restaurant in Odenton, Ma Dragon. And I've been there twice checking it out. It's very nice. We get a party room and it's going to be nice. So we do social things also.
Good deal. I
It's
want to thank
okay.
Geri Cvetic so much for your time. Thank you very much for your leadership at Toast of the Severna Park. I talked to Phil Gallagher, like I said, who put us in touch. And I mean, he just keeps raving about it. And I think this is something that could be useful for pretty much everybody. And if that's the case, then you're going to need a bigger room. But, that would be a.
Right. And I love the fact that you brought up COVID and kids needing this public speaking skills. I would love to see more young people. I taught high school for a number of years, so I would love to see young people in here.
And just real quick, one thing I didn't ask is age?
18.
Okay.
But, I mean, we will never close the door to anyone. We had a young lady come on last Tuesday, and she gave a speech. She's like a senior in high school. Phenomenal. She did such a great job. So, I mean, we would never close the door to anyone. So just come on in. If you feel a desire to improve your public speaking or leadership skills, come on in.
Geri, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, John, so much. And I envy your job because you're learning every time you interview someone. And I really think it's a fantastic thing that you're doing. So thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.